The story begins with a scene of two young people driving through the rainy night looking for a camp. Of course, there's no reception on the phone and they are a bit lost. The driver Max gets distracted looking at the map and the car hits something in the middle of the road and drives off, almost crashing on rocks. The couple is okay, but they quite don't know what they saw. The car is broken and Max is trying to fix it. Laura is looking for a toolbox in the trunk and finds a letter that says Max was rejected from university. While Max is doing his best to fix the car, she feels like someone is watching them in the woods. God knows why she feels like she wants to investigate the woods, saying that maybe someone is there injured from the accident. She finds a broken cage with a wooden plate saying Silas the dog boy in front of it. There's definitely someone else in the woods following them. Laura starts to hear a voice saying the name Silas until someone whispers her directly in the ear. Girl starts running scared and she reaches the car. Max is not there, but it's okay, he was just a few steps away. Then Laura sees like a ghost behind Max and the two freak out hearing footsteps and hide inside the car. Max starts the engine, but the wheels are stuck in the mud. Suddenly someone shows outside the window and scares the shit out of Laura, but it turns out that it is not a killer, but a police officer. He looks at the front bumper and spots marks of accident and gets suspicious. But Laura is like, yeah, it was just an animal, no worries, officer. He lets it go, but Laura also spots marks of blood on his neck. Weird. Cop helps them to get the car out of the mud and asks what they are doing here in the middle of the night. Laura says that they are on their way to Hackett's Quarry summer camp. The officer is like, that's not a good idea. You should stay in the nearby motel and go to the camp tomorrow. Though the officer is pretty insistent, Laura still tells Max to go to Hackett's Quarry camp instead of the motel. And that wasn't a good idea, because no one was there and the whole place was locked. Laura is looking for a way to get in and she finds a basement door, but while she tries to look inside through the hole in the door, she spots someone is locked there. Now that is a major red flag about the whole place, like if what happened before was not enough already. But you know what? This pure little angel thinks someone is just stacked in there and needs help. So she makes Max come and help her, and they open the door. Once they are in, the person hides. Laura finds a collar with the name IAN on it, plus a human corpse on the floor. As a man of reason, Max tells her to get back to the motel, but he gets attacked and bitten by some creature and passes out. Laura tries to get him out, but he is being pulled back into the basement and gets injected by the police officer who helped them earlier, who also shoots Max. And that's how the story begins. Then the old woman talks straight into the camera, welcoming to the show and showing a full card. The idea is that this game has many paths and turns depending on choices that are made during the gameplay. It is known to have 186 different endings, but we all know that number is a marketing move, and I will talk more about that at the end of the video, not to spoil the core of the plot at this point. A school bus leaves the Hackett's Quarry camp since it's the last day of summer camp. Jacob and the other camp counselors are the only one left. They pack up things and Jacob tells Caitlin he got dumped by Emma. He decides to break their car to make them stay for one more night, hoping he would earn time to figure it out with Emma. Meanwhile, Emma and Abigail are packing their bags, and while they ride back to the others, it is revealed Abby has a thing for Nick. While Emma explains that it was a summer fling with Jacob and she doesn't want to have a long-distance relationship. While everyone is packing, Ryan shows up telling that he actually just listened to a podcast about the hag of Hackett's Quarry. It was about an old woman who died in a fire a few years back. Now, she hunts the woods looking for her baby boy. Some people say that if she catches you alone, she tries to turn you into her son. Mr. H shows up and tells the kids to hurry up. They ask him about the hag of Hackett's Quarry, and he acts a bit weird. Edge asks Ryan for help, and he tries to talk with him about that podcast, but the phone interrupts and Ryan overhears through the door about what sounds like preparing for hunting after something or someone. Then Mr. H insists on Ryan and the rest leaving before it gets dark. Mr. Hackett gets mad when it turns out the van is broken. He really freaks out about the idea of those kids spending one more night in the camp. He tells Ryan to lock the doors and keep everyone inside during the night. That was probably a good idea, but let's face it, those guys staying inside wouldn't push the plot forward. So of course, they decide to do the exact opposite and make a party near a campfire. Turns out there is an old man watching them through the rifle, and this other guy covered in blood or whatever it is puts a sign, "Hunting season." Jacob and Emma are looking for what's left in supply storage, and they find a hidden room. Jacob opens it and it's full of booze, but Emma actually also spots what looks like someone's camping supplies torn up by some wild animal. She also finds a shotgun. Ryan and Dylan go to Mr. H office to charge their phones. Dylan finds Laura and Mac's applications and Ryan says, "Those are the ones that never showed up." Dylan spots an old phone, and when he picks it up, he hears someone whispering his name on the other side, but he thinks he must have misheard it. They also find a gun on the wall, and it turns out there is a secret door in the closet with a monitoring room, and the cameras are set to monitor the forest rather than the camp. Everyone got back together. Jacob challenges Nick for a shooting contest over a pack of chips, but Caitlin goes with them to make sure they know they hold the gun right. Nick wins, but turns out Caitlin really knows how to handle the shotgun. In the evening, they all sit in front of a fire and Dylan proposes a truth or dare. Emma is dared to kiss Jacob or Nick, and she picks Nick. Jacob gets pissed and leaves. This old guy and his sidekick are still watching them from a distance. Abigail gets lost in the woods because she is also irritated by Nick and Emma kissing, so it's dark, creepy, and she hears whispers and someone calling her name, but Nick shows up before she is about to freak out. He calms her down and they make out. Cute. But there is something out there in the grass making noises. It's a wild creature. It attacks Nick and goes medieval on his ass. It gets shot from a distance, but it doesn't give up. Someone shoots it again and Abigail escapes and hides under the rock, so the creature loses her track. Back at the camp, Jacob is crying and throwing stones into water. Emma shows up and decides to cheer him up with some naked swimming. This girl clearly has issues. When the camera gets underwater, it shows a corpse there. While Jacob looks for towels, he spots a newspaper headline about the missing hikers and an old photo of Mr. H and his brother when they were kids. Then they jump into the water and it is kinda romantic until Jacob hears screams. While he dives for his lost rotor arm, he spots a bloated corpse. Meanwhile, Abby is back and Ryan takes the gun and goes to help Nick. Before Ryan is able to reach Nick, this redneck guy shows up and grabs him. Ryan shoots him, so he leaves Nick behind and walks away. Naked, Jacob is running through the woods and he stands on an animal trap. He tries to free himself until John Cena redneck shows up and cuts him down. Then he spills some red liquid all over Jacob, telling it for his own good, and walks away. Boys bring back Nick, but he can't really say what attacked him. They spot infection on his leg and Ryan tries to help while Dylan says they should cut his leg off to stop the infection from spreading. Then Jacob shows up and tells what happened to him. He wants to take the gun and save Emma, but the rest refuse to give it to him, so he goes without it. Meanwhile, half-naked Emma is walking around in the dark, filming a vlog. She finds police car keys in front of a cabin. Inside, she finds clothes. She climbs up the ladder to the attic to check out what's there, and she gets attacked by the creature. She uses a taser and makes a picture of it with a phone and then runs away. But the beast corners her. It kinda looks like a zombie Nosferatu. Again, Emma uses pepper gas and hides inside the cabin, but the creature is still after her. Res brings Nick back to Camp Lodge. He complains that he is hungry. Ryan tries to use the old phone to call 911, but it's dead. They figured they should go to the radio hut. And that's exactly where Emma is with the monster trying to get her. She climbs on the roof and uses the rope to slide down. A second, this thing gets her. She lands in water and breaks her taser. Caitlin, Nick, and Abby hear noises, so Kate goes to check it out, and it's the John Cena redneck. He is scary, so she shoots at him and runs away and tells the rest to get out of the building. Ryan and Dylan get to the radio station, and Dylan turns out to be a camp geek, knowing that the station has like a mile of range and how to use it and shit. Boys also get to know each other, and it looks like they are bonding with each other. Dylan broadcasts a message asking for help. Meanwhile, Ryan spots the creature, but he pretty much ignores it. That's a weird reaction to spotting a freaking beast walking around outside the window. Meanwhile, Dylan overhears a message through the radio talking about them and freaks out. They hear creature trying to get inside and spot Caitlin, Nick, and Abby outside, so they warn them through the loudspeaker. Then he tries to broadcast another message, but turns out the beast pulled the wire, and while Dylan is trying to fix the thing, tries to pull him in and injures his hand. He starts freaking out about being infected and wants Ryan to cut off his hand. And actually he does. Then he plugs the wire back and the radio makes a terrible feedback sound that scares the beast. They all gather outside and hear shots fired. Soon they spot a girl with an eye patch, but she quickly runs away and they discover a dead body. Jacob hears someone whispering his name. Soon he finds a camera and meets Emma. She is angry he left her back. They act a bit loud and the creature shows up. While they are chased, Emma falls into the water and Jacob left her behind. But that thing is still after him. He hides in the bushes and it passes by, but while he is running away, he falls for a trap and gets knocked down by this old redneck. Back at the bloody pool, Ryan states it's Kaylee Hackett, Mr. H's daughter. Plus, Nick starts acting weird and looks like he is transforming into some vampire or zombie. Abby pushes him into the water and he acts like it was hurting him or something. They take him to the pool house, but soon he becomes aggressive and acts wild on Abby. She shoots him with a gun and he turns into a beast and jumps out of the window. Emma tries to get back to the lounge and she spots two rednecks who manage to capture the creature into their trap. They cut him off and spot Emma and she kicks the old one and runs away while they are distracted by a creature roar. Emma reaches the car. Meanwhile, Abigail freaks out that she killed Nick. Someone knocks on a door looking for Chris Hackett. Turns out it's Laura. Dylan figures she is one of the counselors that never showed up and they let her in. She explains how she woke up in a cell. Officer put Max in the other cell and apparently he transformed into a beast. She is shown being interrogated. She explained they didn't have money to pay for the motel. She spots that the sheriff's name is Hackett. He shows her Max in a cell and he's okay. Sheriff shows up and takes Max. Laura then figures out a way to get out of the cell, but soon the sheriff brings back Max and locks him in. So Max got bitten, but turns out he doesn't have any scratches on him now. Sheriff kept them in their cells for the next few weeks until one night he handcuffs Laura to a pipe next to Max's cell and she gets to see how he is transforming. First thing he does as a beast is scratches her in the eye as she gets too close to the bars. That explains the eye patch. At the same time, the rusty pipe broke and she was free. She goes through the police station. She finds a birthday card figuring Hackett was born in 1965. She also spots a calendar with his birthday marked on July 7th and a full moon marked on the other day. She picks up a phone and hears a voice saying, "They took everything from me. Kill them all." She also finds an audio file on the computer. It's a podcast about a fire in which a woman lost her baby. Then she gets back to the cell, but she takes a syringe with her filled with sleeping drugs. When the sheriff shows up, she explains she didn't take a chance to escape because she doesn't want to leave Max behind. Next day, Max is himself again. Sheriff shows up and he is more honest this time. He says he and his family are just trying to survive and tells Laura, "We are going to end this thing once for all." Then she tells her to read a text that sounds like some kind of curse, and to turn it back, you have to kill the werewolf with silver during the moonlight. Then he tells her to try to figure out a science solution since she studies science. Then Laura overhears Sheriff talking to his brother about the missing hikers and journalist. Turns out Chris Hackett was the one who bit Max the other day. So Laura figures they have to kill him with silver to heal Max. Laura pretends to feel sick and drugs the sheriff. They escape and she leaves Max on the island since werewolves are hurt by water and she gets back to the camp. Dylan tells Laura Jacob and Emma might be on that island. Laura goes there and meets Max in his beast mode. He attacks her, but she manages to escape. Then she tells the rest about the werewolf she killed, and Ryan tells her it was Kaylee Hackett. She states she shot a werewolf and it must have turned back after. She also reveals she got bitten by Max on the island. Then we see a woman in a basement where she keeps a beast in a cage. Jacob is dragged by the rednecks to the same basement and they put him in a cage. Back at the camp, Ryan takes Laura at a gunpoint, but she convinces them she can be trusted. Then she tries to convince them to go and kill Chris since it's a full moon and this should fix everything. Ryan decides to go with her. He thinks Mr. H is a good guy and he tries to protect them, telling them to leave and then insisting they stay inside for the night. They find what Ryan thinks is his mom's house. They try to find a way inside and fall deep down into a part of the old quarry. They land in water and it turns out it heals Laura. Her eye and hand are perfectly fine. But since her eyes are still yellow, they figure the transformation didn't stop. She already has this super strength. They enter the tunnel that looks like an old rum-running tunnel back from Prohibition days. They reach Hackett's basement and find Jacob and the cage. The rest find Emma in the car. Keitel says that she needs a rotor arm to fix the car. There's a scrapyard up the road. She asks Dylan to go with her. Travis tells his mom Kaylee is dead. She freaks out, especially when she finds out Laura did it with a silver bullet gun that belonged to Travis. Jacob decides to try to find a way back through the mines that got Ryan and Laura here. Laura sneaks to overhear what Travis and his mom are talking, but they hear her and catch her. She struggles with them, and at one point, she shoots Constance in the face. The old redneck, who turns out to be Travis' dad, gets mad, and the John Cena redneck, who I guess is also one of the brothers, stabs Ryan with a knife, but he manages to escape. Laura is hunted by the old man, and at one point he corners her and shoots her with a silver bullet. Then he tries to stab her, but she is strong now, remember? So she breaks his neck and the electricity as the light begins to bother her. But with no electricity, the cage opens and the creature gets out. Travis shows up and has a mental breakdown, and Laura uses the distraction to run away. Ryan still plays cat and mouse with Bobby until he almost captures him, but he uses the knife he was stabbed and stabs him back. Bobby has like a 10 IQ points, so he just runs crying to his parents. Laura shows up in blade mode. Ryan has lost a lot of blood, but Laura figures out that if she bites him, the infection will heal him. Ryan is like, yeah, do it. Dylan and Keitel find a car hanging on a crane, so Dylan tries to take it down, and it draws the attention of a werewolf. It almost gets Keitel, but Dylan manages to drop the car on it at the last second. Unfortunately, they don't get what they came for. Meanwhile, Laura and Ryan came across another werewolf and they figured it must be Chris Hackett. It tries to attack them, but the floor collapses and they fall down. Downstairs, Werewolf attacks Bobby, while Laura changes into a werewolf and pushes Travis. Bobby gets bitten by the Chris werewolf and Ryan takes a gun and kills it with a silver bullet. Laura becomes human again. But Travis tells her it's not over because Chris is not the first. Caleb was. Caleb is Kaylee's brother. He, on the other hand, was bitten by Silas. Ryan says he saw White Wolf back in the cabin, and Travis figures that he must have been the one that ran Laura off the road 2 months ago. Travis believes that if they kill Silas, it will all end. So this weird lady that narrates the story from time to time is actually Silas's mom. Silas died in a fire at the camp. This fire was no accident. She ran a traveling sideshow called Haram Skaram. 6 years ago they came here. She kept her son in a cage and called him Silas the Wolf Boy. Max wakes up covered in blood. He finds girls' clothes and a path leading to the lake. Meanwhile, Dylan and Katelyn get back to the lodge, and Jacob is wandering through the woods, mostly crying about his blown chance with Emma. Werewolf shows up at the lodge. Emma and Abba spot that on the security cameras, and past Katelyn's silver bullets, she shoots down the monster. Laura, Ryan, and Travis are riding the car looking for Silas the dog boy. Soon Silas shows up and attacks their car. Laura pulls the handbrake, and Silas falls on the road. Travis runs him over, but when they turn around, he is not there. Travis convinces Laura to go after Silas. She tells him that this is the place she saw the old woman. Travis figures it must have been Eliza Voris, Silas's mother. He also reveals that Kaylee was trying to help Silas, so she convinced Caleb to start a fire for distraction and set Silas free, but things went wrong. The fire spread quickly and killed everyone, and Caleb got bit while they tried to get Silas to freedom. Soon they find Silas wounded, but Laura hesitates to kill him. When Travis tries to take the gun, she kills him, then she shoots Silas. This is the ending where everyone survives, but since during the game not enough evidence were collected, they are charged for murders. On the other hand, Hackett's are dead and Silas is also dead, so the course is broken. Police arrive, and during the credits we listen to a podcast about psycho teens charged after a summer camp massacre. So as I said before, there are almost 200 possible endings, but as you can see now, it all comes down to who died and who survives, and whether the course is broken or not. Most of the endings are similar. The biggest changes between them come from Eliza's final dialogue and in the implications of the ending, which is revealed in the podcast that plays during the credits. This makes the amount of endings in the Quarry a little less overwhelming. So it's not like you are missing much if you haven't seen all the 186 ways the game can end, but let me quickly go through a little what if. Curse will also be lifted if Travis survives. There is also the other version where when Silas attacks the car it crushes, Laura kills Silas but dies due to her injuries. If Laura fails all the QuickTime events during that car crash, Silas survives and the curse remains. In another path, Laura and Ryan can kill all the Hacketts back in their mansion, including Travis, and the game will end in curse remaining. Or when he struggles with Laura for the shotgun. Instead, this ending will result in Laura being captured, Travis surviving, and the mystery remaining unresolved. There is also an ending in which Laura and Max reunite. After Ryan refuses to be bitten, he dies. Laura kills Travis in the mansion, and since Chris was killed by Ryan, the couple is healed. There's this path where Emma and Jacob meet in the woods. Jacob will reveal that he is responsible for breaking the van and causing the counselors to stay an additional night. As you can imagine, Emma doesn't take this news well and will ultimately tell him that he'll need to live with this decision for the rest of his life if they happen to make it to dawn. Or there is a path where he changes into a werewolf and he will kill Emma or not, depending on whether she has a silver bracelet on her. Also, there is a way to get Chris Hackett to survive the night, but Ryan, Travis, and Laura will die. Also, there are endings in which Ryan survives alone and the other one, with only Catelyn surviving the night. There is one where all the counselors die and Silas lives. In this ending, the Hackett family members remain alive, with the exception of Travis, depending on the choices the player makes. Because Caleb lives, the people he infected will remain cursed as werewolves. So long story short, the ending depends on who survives and who dies, whether the curse is lifted or not, and who is charged for murders. Combinations of those factors result of what ending you get.